So,
And
Coach,
so,
your style, I certainly appreciate it. I know Randy West appreciates it, and it's definitely unique. And I always equate it to the movie Whiplash. Have you seen that movie? That's the
refresh
movie
that.
about the music teacher is incredibly hard on the students because it's the best music school in the country, and he demands perfection. And there's a famous scene at the end of the movie where the kid basically quits but comes back and he does extremely well. And he tells the teacher, "Is it possible that you push a kid too hard or push the person too hard? What if they quit?" And the teacher's answer is, "It's not possible because the greatest that ever lived wouldn't quit."
I think I appreciate that, Mark. I think, like, when you look at that, like, so Rod Marinelli taught me this, and he was extremely hard on me, and I owe a lot to Rod, because I was the guy he chose. He's a legendary D-line coach. But he said, coaching or playing, your best friend in this profession brings out your best. And that's the hardest thing you have to endure. Your best friend in this profession, whatever it may be, who's working for you now in the gyms, your best friend in this profession brings out your best, and that's not easy. Because they want you to be the best. So they're going to push you to limits beyond your mind thinks you can get to. And some people have cracked over the years, I will say that. And some people, you find a way, like the musician that quit and then came back, they realize what that teacher was doing for them.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes the player or the student, when we're not pushing you to be the best, then you have to be worried, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Perfection is nothing else, Mark. I mean, it's either 100% right or it's not right.
Mhm. Mhm.
You can't be have half your toe in the water. You better dive right in.
Understood. I mean, it's. I think that's faded a little bit because it's like if now and we don't have to
It
get
has
into it.
faded.
It's faded. I just think because if you're too hard on me, I'm just going to bounce. And it's like, but I think that there's no more great or there's less great stories of people, you know, pushing through and persevering and rising to the top. And I think where does that come from? Just in general, coach, how come it's faded? Because there's a lot of great coaches like yourself and Coach Reed, and there's a lot of wonderful coaches out there. How come that's faded?
I don't think, Mark, like, so I heard this analogy a couple years ago. The kids have changed. The kids have changed. All the kids growing up have changed. No, I think the parents have changed. I think when I was growing up in an era in the 70s as a youth and then teenager in the mid 80s, I mean, I had strict parents, but now they didn't hit me with whips and everything, but I had strict parents that like demanded perfection in my schoolwork, my effort on the field. I remember my dad telling me at 10 years old when I struck out 3 times, how many times have you practiced? Did you go to the batting cage with me? What's going on? No, I went to the beach with mom and auntie and blah, blah, blah. I said, all right, well, you're not going to be any good. And I started sobbing, and we go down and started hitting. And he said, here's what you can control. You make sure whatever sport you play, nobody outworks you. They might be better than you physically, or maybe a better athlete, but no one can run. If the coach says to run a sprint, you run harder than that kid. If he says to be there at 8 o'clock, be there at 10 to 8. So it kind of sank in my mind, and I try to always have that I think everything's like, oh, we got 5 winners, everyone gets a trophy. No, you win or you lose.
Yeah.
No, everyone gets a shirt because you participated. No, we didn't. Who won? Who didn't win? And I think society today is not. I don't want to say demanding it, but oh well, you're at a restaurant. I can't tell my kid to be quiet. Well, we used to get warned. If we were yelling and screaming, you're going to get it when you go. Can't do that. You can't do this. I think that's what's happening. Coaches are afraid to push players at a younger age. I mean, high school, mainly college, because now they're just going in the portal and leaving.